Leopards, and a third one is ex-old West German army, as it was in those days. The Leopard, absolutely fascinating tank. The Germans, just as they were after the First World War, were discouraged from developing armoured fighting vehicles, and they basically started doing it as an export move. But the Leopard proved to be so successful that when at last they were allowed to build for themselves, it entered service with the Bundeswehr, the First World German Army, and it soon began to pick up business on the export vehicle. I've got two more Leopards, one more come on already, and here comes the other one, so we've got them all in the arena now, and they'll give you a little demonstration of power. You'll get that lovely throb from those big engines as they roll around. I won't talk too much when they go around, they're quite a sight. And their case Jagdpanzer with a gun in it. It's a lighter vehicle than the tank, much lower profile, but using some similar components. And it carries on, or carried on.
The slightly smaller gun, and particularly with the gun sticking out like it does at the front, there are combat limitations compared to the conventional tank. The vehicle's now been randomly reclassified into these anti-tank guided missiles instead of guns. But the Belgian army used the one that turbine which really gets it going quite pace. So the first screen, if the gun is completely automatic, that consists of a driver, a commander who's also the gunner, and a rear-facing wireless operator who can also
use an automatic loader. You don't need a human being in there to load the gun, it will work automatically. So that's what sets it apart from any conventional tank reverse. That's gone round to 90 degrees, and it can go just as well the other way, and that enables it to engage targets in any direction. It suits them to be facing the target, because in most tanks the thickest armour's at the front. Now S-Tank not only can turn round, but because the gun's fixed, S-Tank actually has to rear up or bow down to aim its gun. That wouldn't happen with Jagdpanzer Canona. That can at least elevate and depress in its own way. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a look at some post-war armour. And leading the field, as it really ought to, is a Centurion. I showed you the Comet a little while ago. The Comet, although it came into service in 1945 and was probably the best British tank of the Second World War tank, it's this ability to improve as time goes by. Give an example with the Centurion. When it first came into service, it was equipped with a 76mm gun, a Second World War gun, perfectly good in its day, but liable to become outmoded very quickly, especially the way the Russians were building bigger and heavier tanks. By the time of the Korean War, Centurion was mounting an 83mm gun of excellent accuracy. There were two American tanks coming in at the same time. The leading one is the M60, uses the same gun as the Centurion, the 105, but it's powered by a Continental air-cooled engine, a diesel in the back, and unlike the British tank, is fully automatic transmission, so that pretty well anyone can drive M60. You just have to get in, there's the pedals make it go, there's the pedal make it stop, and that works, and steering handles to make it go around corners. The Centurion, gear changing is literally an art form. M103, the tank which follows M60, was a heavyweight tank designed to deal with the big Russian tanks. The gun in that case is a 120mm rifled gun. You see the extra road wheels, the extra length and size.
You'll see a couple of little boards, one on each side, and these are actually armoured covers for the ends of rangefinders. They're old-fashioned cross-turret rangefinders with eyepieces at each end, and you adjust the focus until you've got the 2 images in one, and that tells you you're on target and the exact range for the thing you want to shoot at. Now, it's something the British have hardly ever used. They're very common on the American tanks, the Germans use them, the French use them, but we didn't. And when we come round to look at the British tank in a minute or two, we'll explain why. But for now, let's go back to these two. M60's seen quite a lot of active service. They weren't used in Vietnam. The M48 was the main tank used over there.
It's got the mobility of a tank a good deal smaller. Chieftain did have one serious failing, and that was its engine. Inside, under the bonnet, as it were, at the back, is the Leyland L60, and the L60 12-cylinder engine. It's actually developed from a German design, a Second World War aircraft design actually, but revamped to fit into Chieftain, and the reason we chose it is because about the time Chieftain was coming into service, the NATO organisation was requiring all tanks to run on what was known as a multi-fuel engine.
It meant that we got this very powerful tank with a superb gun, which was relatively speaking low profile. However, there was one disaster in all this, and that was the engine. At about the time when Chieftain was being developed, NATO agreed to use multi-fueled 12-piston 6-cylinder engine, which was fitted in Chieftain and known as the Leyland L60, although originally it was a Junkers aircraft engine design. That engine gave the tank endless trouble for years. They were tinkering with it, faffing about with it, trying to get it to work. I mean, they did finally get it to work, it runs well, but as we said earlier on today, it's really too slow by modern standards to keep up with the latest main battle tanks on the battlefield. We saw Challenger 2 this morning, which is our current main battle tank. Here is its predecessor, Challenger 1. In many respects, especially if you got inside, you'd be pressed to tell you weren't inside a Chieftain, but outside it's totally different. The reason for this goes back to this business of kinetic energy rounds. The Russians in particular had started using heat rounds and other types of projectiles, the kind of rounds the Germans were using, the Russians were using. And it means that the tanks are almost impossible to knock out with these kind of rounds. The problem, if it is a problem, is that they can't bend this stuff, so all the modern tanks that have got this type of armour, the laminate armours like Chopin, are all very angular looking. It's a characteristic of Challenger 1 and Challenger 2. They're different in many other respects, but basically they have this angular look. It's a bit like hacking up.
There's a year's salary probably gone inside that before you know where you are. But you've got to have the fuel in there when the tank needs it, so you use an auxiliary tank. A Soviet tank in this period, but unfortunately it's let us down. We'll go and kick it later on. But we have got here another iconic vehicle from the 50s and 60s. And
they had quite a long history of producing AFVs for the British Army. Saladin's got a nice road speed, it's a nice comfortable vehicle to drive, it's got a pre-selected gearbox.
It's quite unusual. Armoured cars shouldn't normally go around fighting tanks, it's not good for them. The two-man turret crew, you've got the driver down there at the front. In addition to the Rolls-Royce engine, you've got three features of this tank which are peculiar to conditions in Switzerland. For a start, there's the shape. Usually in Switzerland they move their tanks by rail, and in order to suit appearance from front and back. The other thing is that when they do take to the roads in Switzerland are all zigzag, either up mountains or down mountains, so it has a very sophisticated hydrostatic steering.
It has a very clever, sophisticated hydrostatic steering system which enables the driver to zigzag without seriously wearing himself or the tank out. But one or two odd features. One of them is the fuel filler cap on either side of the driver, so he's sitting there sandwiched between two fuel tanks. It could be a little bit. The other odd thing about the Panzer 61 is the suspension system. As I said, most tanks around this time had gone for torsion bar. The Swiss actually came up with something that wasn't original to them. The Germans had used it once during the war. But it's a system of things called Belleville washers. The Belleville washer, instead of being a ring, kind of overlaps itself, so it's a spring in its own right. And if you put a stack of them on one above